Hey, welcome to Parking in Paradise. So we are in paradise today, but we have to do some chores. One of the chores that we need to do is to maintain our truck, which is our tow vehicle. It's very important to maintain it well so you don't get stranded on the road. So this is a Cummins diesel. So we have two fuel filters, one in the front and one in the back. The one in the back is a water separator fuel filter. And this is regular maintenance that's recommended to be done every 10,000 miles. This is the first time we're trying to do this on our own. I'm going to start with the front fuel filter. So we do have to drain the fuel out of that area, and I will be putting a little wash basin underneath there that's wrapped in a plastic bag to catch all the diesel that comes out. It's not a lot of diesel, but it does spill out. You don't want to get it on the ground or on your clothes or anywhere that, you know, could be dangerous, so you want to try to capture that. So I think this is all that we need according to what I've been reading about. So this is the wrench that's used to take off the rear fuel filter. And all of these tools you can just get off of Amazon or at your local auto parts store. This is a 28mm socket. This will fit onto the plastic cover of the front fuel filter. This is an oil filter removal wrench, and this is probably overkill for the socket, but it's a long one that I have. It also has a flexible end on it, so I like that. So if I can, I'm going to use this one. If I can't, I just have a regular old socket down here, another extension in case I need it. These water hoses, these are, one of these goes on the front, one of them goes on the rear. They recommend actually replacing the front one because it's kind of short. So these are genuine Mopar parts. I recommend using genuine Mopar. I did not buy these on Amazon. I bought these at a local O'Reilly's auto parts store, and they were a little bit more expensive that way. So the front filter was $75. The rear water separator filter was $112. I realize that's probably more than what you have to pay for it, but I wanted to be assured that we had good parts and that they were genuine. Okay, we are going to start with the front fuel filter, and if you can see that little yellow round knob that's in the center of the screen, that is where you turn that little knob to drain the fuel out of the container that holds the filter. And if you can see that little tube in there, that little tube right there is really short. It comes from the manufacturer like that. What we're going to actually do is we're going to replace that tube with a longer tube so that I can direct where the fuel goes.
Okay, she's gone under. That is the hose in the center of the frame that we're going to replace. Is there a piece left on there?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm taking that piece off. Now you want to be careful going in here because there are some hoses and stuff down here.
Yeah, and you don't want to do this after you've just shut your engine off.
Oh God, no.
It needs to be cold.
It needs to be cold. I should have said that in the beginning. It definitely needs to be cold. Alright, so that piece is off. We're going to put this in. Okay. Now the little knob that you put this on, it just has some screw threads on it, so it doesn't have a clamp or anything. Pretty easy to put on. Alright, now I'm just going to thread this down, and then I'll cut it when I get underneath the truck. I'm sure you assist.
Okay, so there's the new hose.
So what I'm going to do is, first of all, make sure it's not kinked up, right? Because you want the fuel to be able to come out easily. This is the underneath view. And the hose is coming down here. This is the new hose I just put in. And this green thing right here, that's a wire tie. And so what I did is I just put a wire tie through this hole, and it's loose. And so this will hold this hose up while we're going down the road. Keep it out of the way. It's not touching anything that gets hot, and it won't burn or anything like that. And then when I get ready to use it, like I'm about to, all I have to do is fish it out of there. Now, if you wanted to, you could just take this hose off and put it back on when you need it. But that seems like a hassle. So we're going to try it this way. Okay.
There it goes. Great job. Okay, go ahead. Hear that sound? That is the sound of that turning.
It was extremely hard and
It was
tight.
very hard to get the initial brake off.
Now more fuel is coming out as I'm doing this, and that's totally normal. So you're going to want to keep that pan under there. So this is the filter right here. And I'm going to grab it. It's in there pretty tight. I was a weakling and couldn't get it off.
Oh, that's not
so
the case.
Joanne put her hand down in there and popped it right off.
It's snug, and I'll show you why once I get it out. So I'm just going to lift it up, and I have a receptacle here because, as you can hear, there's diesel fuel still in this cylinder. Okay, it's dripping, dripping, dripping. There, we have a good receptacle.
There we go.
So, it's the old one. You can see how tan it is compared to this nice, crisp, white new one. So we're going to put this one in.
And the O-ring is down at the bottom of those threads. I'm going to grab that with a pair of needle nose pliers and pull it right off of there, and then we'll put the new one on. So I'm just putting a little bit of oil on this O-ring. I'm just using chainsaw bar oil because that's what I had handy. But you could use motor oil.
So that's the new O-ring going on.
Just inspect it, make sure it's all the way down, all the way around. Yep, that's good.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you why it took a little bit of work to get this other one out. You see that ring right there in the center, the oval? It's snug. It has to go over a post-like object in there, apparently, because that's what it pulled off of. See that center of the frame? You see that thing? That goes, the new filter center goes over that, and it pushes down quite snugly. And it should clip. There you go. You hear that pop? That's it. That's in. We'll make sure all the threads are clear, as well as the threads on the receiving end.
Yeah, that was clean.
Okay. So she's going to just screw that right on top.
Okay, so I put the top back on, and before I tighten it up, I'm going to go ahead and close the drain that we use to drain the diesel out. So this is the top of the filter case right here, and then the drain valve is, there it is, in focus right there. So just turn that clockwise to tighten it back up. You want this, you know, tight enough that it's not moving. And you want to hear that little squeak? That actually means that the O-ring is seating properly.
That's great.
So that's what we're gonna do right
Okay.
there.
Okay, so the front is in, correct?
The front is done. So this I'm gonna just take and tuck it away. So it's nice and out of the way. Not gonna snag on anything. And it'll be there for the next time. Another 10,000 miles when we need to change it.
Which will be much faster the second time around and the third time around. Okay, so obviously we are underneath the truck. And Deborah came in from the passenger side.
Can you
And-
see?
Yep. And this fuel filter, the rear fuel filter, is right there in the center of the frame. Okay.
So the first thing we're gonna do, there's an electrical cable coming off of here. This is a sensor that makes sure that this is working.
Yep.
There's a tab right here. Push that in with your finger and then it'll separate.
Okay.
Okay, so now we need to drain the fuel out of here just like we did in the front. And there's a little nub right here, which the fuel comes out of. Put a hose on it. And this is a 3/8 inch inner diameter hose. It's just clear vinyl. You can pick it up at any hardware store. And let's see.
There you go. Good job.
Just put it on there. We're not going to leave this one on like we did at the front. We're going to take it off every time. So now to get this to dry, just turn this counterclockwise.
It's definitely turning. There we go. Okay, it's coming out.
Yeah, we're getting a little fuel coming out of it now, but not too bad. Okay, I think that's
Okay.
probably
I'm gonna take it off.
loose enough. Okay, it's gonna make a mess no matter what you do. So,
Are you alright? This is the new filter.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That was not easy. So
Yeah.
it was hard to turn, and I got a good shower of diesel when it came off. So it doesn't really matter. You can drain the diesel out with that hose, and I do recommend that you do that because I'm sure it would have been a lot more. But you're gonna get diesel everywhere. It just, when it comes off of there, it just makes a mess, and there's nothing that you can do about that except, you know, put something down on the ground to catch it. We have an old plastic tablecloth that we put underneath there, and that basin that you saw that caught most of the fuel, but it got all over me. I'm gonna have to have a shower, definitely. This is a new filter. So it has this gasket. This is not an O-ring, this is a gasket. And my guess is that sits right there on top of that. I'm gonna get the other filter out and take a look at it, but I'm pretty sure it goes right there. This is the sensor that we took off underneath. It got kind of covered in diesel, so I'm kind of letting it dry out before I put it back on there. Probably you want, when you take this off, you know, it'd be good to set it aside. I didn't do that, so it got a nice shower of diesel just like the rest of us. So I'm cleaning it up a little bit. But see this O-ring right here? You want to take that off. That's the old one. Anytime you are replacing components, if they come with an O-ring or a gasket, anything like that, you want to replace it. Even though it looks good, and it probably is good, probably be fine. But you're in here, you're doing this. So you just want to replace that, you know, $2 part. And put that on there. And then this goes back inside here. So I'm actually not going to put this on until I get it up into the truck. Yeah. And you're also, when you're wiping that down, look at that. There was actual dust on that. So yeah, wipe it down, get that stuff off of there. I'm just gonna go around that and get it coated really well with oil.
Okay.
So I'm gonna wipe this down just to make sure there's nothing on it. Okay. All right, now we're in. That's hand tight. Now I'm going to get my wrench and tighten it up. Okay.
Good job.
Okay, now I got my O-ring on here. I cleaned off the threads to make sure that that was right, and now we're going to put the sensor back in. Alright, that's hand tight. Now I use this handy dandy tool. Alright, you want to hear that squeak a little bit, that way you know the O-ring is getting down, but you don't want to over tighten it. And then I'm going to close this. That is the drain hose, drain nozzle. And then we got to plug the sensor back in to this little thing. Alright, good click. Check everything here. Looks good.
Great. Before you turn over your vehicle after switching out those fuel filters, you just want to turn the key on. Not so that you're going to start the vehicle, but just so you hear all that ding, ding, ding. And then it's on run, but not turned to the engine. I'm going to do this 6 or 7 times. Oh, ooh, it started right off. Holy crap. Oh, it stopped. That's normal. So just going to put it back on. Did that 6 times, and now I'm going to put my foot on the brake, and I'm going to start the truck.
Now let it.
Okay, I'm going to turn it back off. I'm going to start it again. Turn it back off. Woo, that's beautiful. Okay, that was the 7th try, and that's pretty usual. Okay, so the truck's been running maybe 30 seconds or so. It hasn't skipped at all. I'm just going to take it for a short drive around the campground. Okay, that was successful.
So the first thing you want to do is to turn your ignition on to run. Don't start it. You don't have to start it. You can do this with it started, but don't waste the fuel. You just put it on to run. You'll get the little beep for a minute, and you'll see that the little notice comes up here that says replace fuel filter. You're going to want to go to the menu, and you're gonna scroll through these options. You want to go to the one that says vehicle info right there. And the way that I am scrolling through this is I'm using these little buttons right here that are on the steering wheel. So this goes up and down. When I push the down button, it goes down on the menu. I push the up button, it goes up. So you want to go to vehicle info, and then you see that little arrow pointing to the right. That is telling me to push the right arrow button on the steering wheel, which is this button right here. So I'm going to do that, and it's going to come up with several different things. And you go through here until you get to one that says fuel filter life. And you see it says 0%. So that's why we were getting that message. So to reset this, I hit this button, the right arrow button, and that brings up, you have to hold it in for a minute, and it'll bring up the thing that says reset, yes or no. Hit that down arrow button to get it to yes, and then hit this right arrow button 3 times, like click, 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 and then it resets it. So let's do that again. I'll show you. Right arrow button, hold it in, get that, go down 1, hit 3 times, and it resets that to 100%. Now, so that's how you do that. This job is done, and we're gonna wrap up this video. Thanks for watching, and please hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed our video and found it informative, and we'll see you down the road. Okay, so, ow, I just hit my head. We're gonna edit that out.